I've always liked and admired Aston Martin, but I've never actually wanted to own one. However, could this new car change all of that? It looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic. And its engine produces more torque than any other road-going Aston Martin engine. But is all this enough to overcome a few serious problems I've already noticed with the car? People, I'm going to want to get fingers like that. One of which is the fact that it costs more than the average house. Now we're going to find out whether I've been wrong about Aston Martin all these years, or whether this car's going to prove me right. Aston Martin is a little bit old-fashioned, but in a good way. You know how Bentley's like downsized its W12 engine? Not here, not for the flagship Aston Martin. We've still got a full complement of 12 cylinders. And if you pay Aston Martin an extra £10,000, however, this particular car I have here has a little bit of a secret. Cue sound montage. Could you guess what the secret was? Well, it's this car's actually fitted with an aftermarket Quicksilver exhaust. It costs £35,000. Sounds expensive. Well, it does sound expensive, doesn't it? Yeah, it definitely does. However, this car isn't all fart and no poo. It's got some serious performance to go with that serious sound. 5.2 litre twin turbocharged V12, which puts out an incredible 1,000 Newton meters of torque. And this car only has slightly less horsepower than that as well, at 835 horsepower, which incidentally is 5 more horsepower than you get from the Ferrari 12 cylinder. So related to the V12 in the original Vanquish of 2001, which can trace its roots back to 2 V6 Ford Duratec engines being bolted together. But don't let that put you off. Let's see how fast this thing is accelerating. Bloody hell. What happened there? That was strange. So 0 to 60 in 4.7, quarter mile in 12.4, but let's give it one more go. That's actually better. Let's do that again. Limited speed, winter tyres. 0 to 60, 3.8, quarter mile, 11.71. Okay, here we go. We're on this time. It's pulling hard. This is it. This is the one. Whew, 0 to 60, 3.6 seconds, quarter mile in 11.2. Woo! As a road missile, I mean, just look at it. Look at the size of this bonnet. It looks like it's been designed to penetrate 10 meters deep of concrete bunker. It's madness. I mean, the grille at the front, right? Traditional Aston grille, but it's about 13% bigger to allow more air into that huge V12. They've actually stretched the wheelbase by 80 millimeters. It's such a long car. It's almost 5 meters long. By saying that from some angles, it looks a bit too similar to the DB12, but where critics have definitely got it wrong, I have no idea why this particular feature here, this part, which is called the shield, hasn't received universal praise. We have these 7 little slash LED lights at the rear, which are a nod to the track-only Vulcan, and massive exhaust tailpipes. So they are slight exaggerations, the actual pipes are in there, but they're still rather large. Overall, this car is so beautiful. But there is the obvious problem. This car is insanely expensive. It starts from £330,000, which is more than the cost of the average home in the UK. Oh, and this car is slightly more expensive than that still, because it's fitted with some choice options, such as the carbon fibre on the exterior, £26,500. The wheels, £5,000. The carbon fibre here on the interior, £15,000. The total price of options on this car, £60,000, which means this one that I'm sat in, 400 grand. In quarter 3 of 2025, Aston Martin made a £111 million loss, and during that period they delivered 1,430 cars. So they lose 78 grand per car. It may seem really extortionate, but Aston Martin will actually pay you to buy this car. No, really, they will. You see, according to the latest financial information, one of the best value used sports cars you can buy right now is also an Aston Martin. It's the Vanquish. If you look, here's a 2015 model I found on Carwow for less than £44,000. Whenever you drive this car, whatever the journey, whatever the conditions, it just makes you feel so alive. There's nothing quite like knowing that you've got 1,000 Newton meters of torque. For something that weighs 1,900 kilograms, it handles surprisingly well. The steering is really responsive and darty, and it's got a nice meaty feel to it. Let's be honest though, for most people, most of the time, in most of the conditions, they're going to be quicker in a Bentley Continental GT. just are with that four-wheel drive traction. For a big car, it's actually quite small inside. I mean, it's almost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 meters long. It's really small. 248 litres. I mean, that's smaller even than a Bentley Continental GT, which is about the same size, but obviously the Bentley has some rear seats. They're the second largest fitted to any Aston Martin. Only the 707 DBX, big heavy SUV, and the Valkyrie have bigger brakes. 27 kilogram weight saving actually compared to if they were iron discs. However, what really matters is the performance. Let's do a brake test from 60 miles an hour. 32 metres, that is impressive. But is the interior as impressive? The design looks cool and some of the materials are just lovely. Oh, carbon fibre, that feels nice. That feels seating position is great as well. And the seats themselves look good. We've got some mod cons like wireless charging with cooling as well as your USB-C. Expensive. This is expensive. Oh, love the feel of the drive select mode there. And the volume controls, very nice. But it's not all good though. A couple of things do let the side down, like some cheaper feeling and the infotainment screen, which is a little bit dark and dull and slow to respond. When you have a car that's this expensive but a cheap Chinese SUV has a much better infotainment system, that's embarrassing, isn't it? The rest of this car feels suitably expensive, but will other people think it's expensive? Where it gets really interesting is doing this kind of thing, going through narrow gaps and roads. Although this time, it's not for good reasons. While you can put the windows down by pressing the unlock button, look, press and hold, they go down. Yeah, kind of handy. Let's actually make this into an annoying thing, because there is something annoying about this key, which is genuine. Look, see the buttons here? Why are they so small? Why aren't they the full size of that? Look, can you see that? Genuine problem. There's this annoying touch-sensitive button to control the display, and as you can probably see, the display is really laggy. You can change the views a bit. Like the way this side skirt protrudes like that, it's so easy when you get into the car to accidentally just like smash your shin on it like that. And then you've got to be super careful when you're getting out, not to just like put your feet there and scratch it, or even worse, kick it off. This glove box really is only big enough for keeping your gloves in. Also, the way you have to hold onto the boot to open it, like here, low down, it's always covered in road grime. Look at my fingers. People who can afford to spend 330 grand on a car, for such an expensive car, you wouldn't expect such terrible condensation in the headlights. In fact, it's not only condensation, it's actually water droplets. There's a river going on in here. It has a really annoying rattle from behind the dash. You only get it sometimes depending on the road surface you're driving on, but when you get it, you definitely get it, and it's really annoying. So, how will that affect my verdict on the new V12 Vanquish? If only I had £330,000 to spend on a grand tour such as this. And I definitely have it over a Ferrari 12 cylindric, although I've never actually driven one of those. Yes, I definitely have it over the Bentley Continental GT, but I just prefer the look of this by a country mile. Amazing car this, if only I could have one as my own.